Well, John Pinkster, super excited to be here and chat with you guys, one of the main developers of the Mighty product. Hopefully, many of you are very familiar and use it all the time. If not, that's why we have these meetups to kind of help break the ice on what is Mighty and how does it work. And that's really the intent of this meeting. We love to be super informal, so we'll go through Q&A and certainly ask questions along the way in the chat. I love it when people unmute, so that way you can ask your question and we can get more conversational. I've got Sid helping me out. She'll be reading out some of these questions and kind of catching those along the way, as well as some other Maestro employees who are going to jump in and help kind of answer some of those questions. What we love to do at these meetups is really talk about some of the things that are happening over here in the Mighty space. And we often have community members joining. Today we don't because we've got so much other stuff that we wanted to share. So we'll dive a little bit more into some of the features side of things, as well as we like to really reserve a space for that Q&A and then dive into the product demo. So very excited to walk through all the fun things that are happening. So uh, let's jump into features. For features, some things that I wanted to mention, maybe some of you are already familiar with, and then some new things that we've not talked about. First, quick sort as a feature is back, and I'll walk through exactly what that is here in a second. But for those who have been here in the journey with Mighty, we built originally a way where you quickly sort blocks, and then Rise released their managed blocks probably 7 or 8 months later. And we were like, okay, cool. Let's just join forces, let them have their feature. We'll add some of our bits into that. But then after a little while of using it, it just was still a little bit too slow for my liking. So we brought that back. We also brought that back with our copy block ID button. And the next feature is we also added another piece into this, and it's a hide blocks feature. So I'll walk through that here as well. We've got more WCAG support for interactive HTML blocks, and I'll show exactly what's kind of going on there, just to kind of give you guys guidance when you're creating these interactives on how to get advantage of this WCAG support. And we also have, for the early access crew, a find and replace feature, which is going to be amazing for many or all of you. And then last but not least, I'm going to spend some time, depending on how much time we've got left in this segment, to just walk through a handful of new blocks that we've been building that we're super excited to roll out to y'all. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let me pull over my Rise course. I'm going to walk through kind of that list in order there. So first was the quick sort menu. So for anyone who is unfamiliar with what I mean when I say quick sort, what you'll be able to do is find this option as soon as you're in any sort of lesson, or if you're in a micro learning course, you'll see this option up here called quick sort. So the point of quick sort is to quickly sort blocks, hence the name quick sort. So the idea here is like you're in your lesson and you want to move like a section of blocks around. Well, many of you know it's painful. You like click the arrows to kind of get things to move around, and just takes forever to do that, especially if you want to move it down several sections. Then Rise released their managed blocks section, and I have to wait for it to load a preview of my lesson, and then I get to move blocks around. Like also super time consuming, but much better than where they were before, where they only had the arrows. So that was a great improvement. However, it just still wasn't fast enough for me. So I brought back our quick sort. So again, the idea here is you can just grab like a selection of blocks. You'll see as you like hover over the left-hand side, it highlights that block for you, and then you can just literally drag and move them, and it just moves them immediately. Just all right there in your lesson. You don't have to like go to some preview version or anything like that. Super convenient. Another thing that I missed that I really love getting back is like I can just also click this to just quickly jump down to a section in my course. Um, So I was personally missing that as well. And also, if you right click on the quick sort, you also get access to the block ID, which if you're ever dealing with the custom code snippets, which if you're not familiar with that, we can certainly talk about that too. But code snippets definitely rely on block IDs and kind of being able to take your course to a whole nother level, which is great. You can also find that here in the quick sort menu. So we were super glad to bring that back. And me talking about it out loud, I'm remembering why we brought it back. And it was because managed blocks, unfortunately, doesn't support microlearning. Boo. So I wasn't going to just bring Quicksort back for microlearning. I'm going to bring it back for everything, for all the advantages I just talked about. So that is the Quicksort feature. Now, you'll also notice with Quicksort, there is another icon here, and I'm going to talk about that. This is our new hide blocks feature. I feel like we released probably a week or two ago. And what the point of this is that you're going through and you're authoring your course, and you're like, oh man, I'm not really sure. Like, should I use the accordion block, or maybe I want to use like a columns block? So I can go in here, I can drop in a columns block, and I could build out like a variation of this accordion. Like, I don't really know what I want it to be, but I want to like try out certain things. So like you go in here and you kind of like design out the thing, and then you're like, all right, now let me just turn off uh one of the two so I can see what my course looks like. And like I can just go through while authoring here and just kind of see the flow of it. Yep, okay, that looks pretty good. All right, well, what if I were to swap those? So turn off the accordion and turn on the text or columns block. So then you can kind of go through that and like, okay, cool. Yep, that's what I want to do. We're going to keep that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn back on the accordion block, and I'm just going to delete that. So now I don't have that in my course anymore. I feel good about the look and feel of that. So this is like really intended for you guys to have that like variety of the look and feel. You want to like maybe swap around or play around with like different images or different organization of your blocks. You can certainly do that, play with that within the quick sort, turn on and off certain blocks, get a good look and feel for what that is, and then you're off, kind of doing the next thing. So in a way, turn off the block, see what it looks like, and then you're good to go. Now, I will say right now, the reach that we've gone with this is fairly shallow. Really, all it's intended to do is while authoring, give you that appearance of what it would look like. Obviously, as we all are looking at this, it's a fairly good idea of a preview. But when you jump into preview, you're going to get that block to show back up. So don't think about it or try to leverage it as like uh, it's like a draft block that you're like putting into draft mode, and it's not going to be there, and your learner won't see it. Well, no, they're gonna see it as soon as you leave and come back. You're gonna see it. So it's just more really intended for the authoring experience for you to really be able to kind of hide that during the authoring. So perfect timing, Jeff. I just answered that for you. Only available while authoring and authoring in this lesson. I will be very interested to hear because this draft block idea is kind of a fun, cool concept that could evolve into something like that where yeah, you're like you've got a section in your lesson that you really aren't ready to reveal yet, but you do need to publish your course out. Like I can certainly see the use case of like, hey, it'd be awesome to be able to just like put these blocks in like draft mode or turn it off and then publish my course. Everyone sees them gone. And then I can come back in and continue doing my authoring experience. So I could see that evolving there. So just let me know. Yeah, I see Jeff's already jumped on that. We do have our community, which I'm sure a lot of you know about, but we love to hear your guys' thoughts and ideas. And in fact, this hide block came from Lee, which I think I saw Lee in the list of
Yep,
people
he's on
here.
there.
So Lee dropped in this note, and then one of our developers, I think like next day they sent a message internally. We're like, "Hey, I already started working on this, and here's like a preview of it." I was like, "Nice, that's awesome." So that's really how we love to treat the community. Is like you guys are right there with us in building courses and potentially even building more courses than we do at Maestro, and It's awesome to be able to hear your guys' ideas that you've got. So please jump into the community, share those out. We love to hear that. Sometimes we'll move just as fast as we did with this one, sometimes not so fast, but love to hear those ideas nevertheless. Um,
Like you are getting some plus ones on the
nice.
next phase functionality that you were mentioning.
Sounds good. We'll keep that in the back of our mind. Um, all right, so the next thing on the list that I wanted to talk about outside of our quick sort is a little bit more about accessibility when it comes to your interactive HTML blocks that you all are building. Um, so as an example here, like I've got several interactives and I'll walk through these a little bit more in depth in just a second. But you're building out these interactives and then you're publishing them in your space where accessibility is important to you. And what we wanted to do is make sure that your interactives are being handled appropriately when it comes to screen readers. So a lot of it's automatically going to happen for you under the gate, but I do want to make sure I mention this out loud because it's worth noting in case if this adds to your list of prompts that you're already doing with your AI agent. And so specifically what we are doing is, at the under the hood, this is just an interactive that I built outside of the system. I used my AI prompting tools and I built out a columns block, which I'll walk more in depth on this in a second. When I add this into my course, what I want to make sure is that from a HTML semantic perspective, so I'm not going to get too in the weeds on this, but we want to make sure that this iframe that comes up in your browser has a title appropriated with your interactive. And so if it doesn't, then your screen reader is just going to come along and say, like, there's nested content. And like it doesn't know what it is. It's just going to read off some iframe that is not helpful. But the title will automatically get pulled in for you if in your prompt you make sure that the HTML that you built up has a title. So if you are generating HTML using your interactive HTML tool, and if it gives you a title in that HTML, just make sure that is appropriate to like what you're building. And if you want that to be clarifying a little bit further with your learner, what's happening in this course or what's happening in this section, that is the magic of how that gets pulled up from a WCAG perspective into the iframe piece. So, sorry, a little bit in the weeds, but just from a prompting perspective, just make sure you say like, hey, make sure to give this an appropriate title when you're building out this interactive. And then you'll describe what you're trying to build and it will just do that for you. It probably is already doing it for you. You just didn't even know. But just know that now with Mighty, what we're doing is we're elevating that title up for you. So then that way, when either you're doing an accessibility check or anyone on your team does an accessibility check, you'll pass. And that section will be read aloud and clarified as to like, hey, we're about to get into some columns, and then you get into content. So there's the HTML side of things. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was the new feature that we've built, and this is now available in early access. Super excited to reveal this to you all today on this call, and that is a find and replace feature. So, as many of you can imagine, you have been in a course or have been asked to go to a course, and maybe even in review, you've been given feedback about like, hey, we shouldn't use this phrase or this the way that you have capitalization on this word is incorrect. We need to make sure that you capitalize these characters or what have you. Uh, then we all have the pain of like, okay, well, where all did I use that at? And maybe I need to like generate a PDF and like go through, read the PDF and find all like there's just a lot of weird steps that we've all gone through to try to get a find and replace to work. So the way this works is you'll notice I went into the power up section. As soon as you click find and replace, you're going to be thrown back to your authoring experience. And it's like right now, this is all the authoring pieces. And you'll see here that there is a shortcut available. So on Mac, you've got the Command Option Shift F. On Windows, it'll be Control Alt Shift F. And you'll see that kind of right up here in the top. So the nice thing is like once you've got that shortcut down, you'll never really need to go back to the power-ups menu, but that's a good launching point for you to get in there. And then that will just pull open for you this find and replace panel. And then from there, we can just search for a word like foundation. And then as soon as you start typing in your word, it's going to go through and find all of those results. And I'm going to walk through these in a second just because it'll take us probably a second for you guys to figure out exactly what's all happening down here. But hopefully it's fairly clear. But you find the word that you're looking for, you see results, and then you are presented with a replace option. Um, and as you can see, your find options are going to be case insensitive as well as like word insensitive. And so, like, that is what these options are for. So, as all of us are familiar, like, I actually want to match the whole word. So, only find me the word foundation. Maybe we could look for the word foundations. We've got different casings. Well, actually, all of these don't match necessarily my casing of foundations, but I could look for that. Okay, there's none. Perfect. Well, let me look for a capital F foundation. So, like, you can really get into the idea of like whole word matching or case sensitive matching. It doesn't even have to be words, a word necessarily. You could even use multiple words. Basically, we just take that conjunction of whatever you typed in there. We sift through your entire course data and find all of the things that match whatever you had entered there. So I'm going to go ahead and back this out just so we have more results and I can talk through this. So once you have found the thing you're looking for, you're going to notice very similarly like Quicksort, when you hover over this, yes, it does work for quizzes. I did see that question come across. It works for quizzes too, and I'll show that here in a second. As you hover over a block, very similar to Quicksort, you'll see that it highlights appropriately. And then you can also click on the block type, I guess is the best way to phrase this. And then uh, what it will do is it will navigate you there. So like, let's say I'm scrolled down here and I click this, it will just navigate you up to where that's found in the course. Now, there's some fun, interesting things with find and replace as you guys think about your courses. And you think about, let me see if there's a good example in here. Yeah, like the process block. If I'm trying to find the word leadership, let's go ahead and change up my search results here. I can see that in the process block, uh, and I'll jump down to this, that it is a part of a title in my lesson collaboration, successful collaboration before. So that's kind of what these dots are down below. It's you've got your lesson or kind of where it's located at, the block type, and then what field does it belong to? So it belongs to like a title field. Because as you can imagine, the word leadership isn't visible when I get into the authoring experience here. And so these are all helpful hints for you to know, like, okay, the word leadership is here, uh, but maybe I just don't see it right away or what have you. So just worth noting, click the link, it'll take you to the block. Most of you know your course or your content, so you'll be able to know exactly like, oh yeah, okay, this is like in the second process step. So you'll be able to find it, or you can just jump right into the content itself and then go through each of them. You'll find them. But really, the find, just to know, is like really going to get you kind of to the location. And then from there, you're going to have to do maybe potentially a little bit of digging to figure out exactly where in that it's located at. So our team's gone through the process of like finding all of the little areas in Rise that has this type of text. Could be alt text on an image, could be uh your quiz question, like your third quiz question and an option inside of that quiz question. Like there's a lot of crazy ways in which text, as you know, is like nested throughout your course. So like, yeah, this is going to be a quick location tool as I see in the chat. Like if you want to find something quickly, open up the find, search for it, and then click the link and it will jump you there. So the way your search results will work is based on the lesson that we're in. And then if you have some result that happens over in another lesson like this here, you'll click it, it'll fly you over to that lesson. slide open the panel again, and then navigate you back down to that block. Uh, so I hope you all have just as much fun playing with this as we did building it. It was loads of fun. There's a lot of like weird nuancy things that we have to kind of work around to one, get it to work in an extension, and then two, deal with all of the craziness that happens in your ice courses. But this is like feeling really good. Super excited to get y'all's feedback on it. Like I mentioned, some of you may be like desperately trying to find this. Like, John, I don't see it in my power ups menu. Where the heck is it? Okay, well, it's only right now for our early access crew. If you want to get a part of our early access crew, just jump over to our community and you will see in the Mighty users space, there is a section right here. It's a pinned post about joining our early access. So you just go ahead and click on that link, and then this will launch you into a form that you fill out. Once you fill out that form, you will see this early access channel in your MC, as well as you'll be a part of our list of users who have access to kind of some of these early access features.
Yep.
So
And actually the Mighty Early Access space, you should see it on the left-hand side in your spaces area. It just would have a lock on it. And if you click on it, it'll have the link directly to that form.
nice. All right, so now I haven't shown you the replace. So the replace, let's find we're gonna look for team effectiveness. How many times does the word team effectiveness show up? Okay, we got four different results. We've got across the couple of different lessons, no problem. I'm gonna replace this with team uh collab. I don't know. I'm just making up something. So you'll notice here that we're gonna show you so many words before or after, or characters before and after. So you're gonna see all that to again try to help ground you to where this is found at in your course. As you type in the replace with, we're gonna cross that out and kind of show you, okay, this is what we're replacing with. And then you can either replace one at a time, and that will clear that out, or you can do the replace all. Hold on. Team, what did I type in? Team effectiveness. Effectiveness. Uh, and I said team collab. Okay, so you can do replace one at a time. You'll notice what it's going to do is it is going to refresh the lesson that you're on. And that's just to make sure that you can validate after you refreshed or that you've replaced it, that you can see that it happened. If you run into situations where it does not reflect that, we'd love to hear those because we've really tried hard to find all those instances and kind of clean those up. But also worth noting that like what you see over on the right hand side is probably more tried and true to what's actually in your course content. And you may just need to reload the course. Again, it's just kind of like the nuances of us being an extension. We're doing the most we can with what we've got. So, but it for the most part should do exactly what you're needing to do. So like as an example here, the course description that we've got, if I were to jump over to this, pull back open this panel. If I replace this, sometimes like it doesn't refresh this window here, but that's fine. If I like leave this and go back, we'll notice that now it's gone. It's been replaced with that team collab piece. So, and then obviously there was the replace all. So you can also just quickly replace all if you ever need to do that as well. So, I think for the most part, that is the find and replace.
Pinkster, how does this react with code blocks in the HTML?
Yes. Uh, so if you are using the Mighty interactive HTML block, I will say you are in luck with a future update that I may not get too far into the weeds on, but I'll maybe show or talk about a little bit when I get into the interactive tab. But right now, it does not look at any of your code. So, like, let's say you're in the code block and you've added code to your course directly, or you uploaded a zip file of content. We're not going to go through any of that because obviously that like starts to touch into not only displayable text, but also just like HTML markup that actually could negatively impact your course. So what we've really done is honed in on just like really specific text that's displayed to the learner, or driving alt images and things like that. But we really are away from messing with any sort of HTML. If you've got like custom code snippets, like we're not going to find anything in any of that. We're going to leave all that alone. Um, but I will say, so outside of the Rise code blocks, if you are using the Mighty interactive HTML block, we will have a nice integration with that using something that I've mentioned before, which is our dynamic form functionality. So basically a way for you to override content inside of your interactive without ever dealing with the HTML side of things. So if you've been on prior meetups, I briefly glance over this. There's a crazy cool update that's going to be coming with Mighty here in the next month or so. We're going to talk a lot more about this, especially with the early access crew and get you guys up and running kind of in this new space that we're diving into. But the interactive HTML themselves, it will go through and replace out any of the configurable text that you've built. So that is coming. Yes, it will find alt text. So, like as an example, if you're using images, so even like with the Mighty image block, and you've got alt text from an accessibility here that describes. I guess this one just describes more of the interactive itself. But if you're using like the image and text block, and with your image, you've got alt text on that. Yes, it will also find those as well. So if there's something it doesn't find that you feel it should, go to community and tell us, and we will either explain why that's difficult, such not possible, or make it happen. So any other questions on find and replace? That one's a super fun one. I'm very excited for y'all to dive into that, give feedback on it. It's been a lot of labor of love there and very, very long needed. So,
I think this is the maybe one of the most requested things we've had in Mighty Meetup chat since we started Mighty Meetup. And Karen Rex is not on the call today, but I think she brought it up like 6 meetups in a row. So we'll have to get her reaction.
yeah. Uh, for reporting bugs, so in our community, you've got two spaces. If it's something specific to this thing that's in early access, yeah, I would love for you to just drop a note in here. No problem. We also do, just in general for bugs, have our Mighty support space. So feel free to either drop it in either of those locations. If it's related to the find and replace, feel free to throw that into there. Otherwise, you just drop a note into Mighty Support and you'll get me. So, cool. Anything else before I move on to interactives or new blocks, really, that I want to talk about? All right. Well, I'm going to talk about some new blocks then. All right. So as all of you guys have been building in Rise, you've exhausted, I'm sure, all the blocks that Rise offers out of the gate. And now you may be at the place where you're like turning to just build your own blocks using the interactive HTML block. And what I want to show off is just like some new blocks that are going to be coming here very soon, that our team's been working on, and we're excited to release to you guys. So this first block here is what we're calling more of our like our columns block. And with our columns block, you'll notice several examples of what you could do with the columns block. So gives you more control over column spacing, gives you more control over images and being able to place those images in certain locations in your columns block. This one's kind of a fun one to be able to take your column and then make it look almost card-like with these backgrounds. and having an icon with control over sizes. So there's just like a lot of control that I think we've all wished we had with the columns block that you soon will have access to. So, as an example here, this is actually a 4 column block. So we can dive into the editing experience here. So you'll see we've got 4 columns. This first column is related to just this text that you see over here on the left side of here. And then we'll see some other experiences where you could drop in an image. And then once you drop in images, kind of locations and stuff like that. So a lot of control that you'll get in the amount of columns that you can build. You can really build as many as you want. Obviously, you guys need to determine from a responsiveness perspective, total width, like what makes sense for you, but we're not going to gate you or guard you on any of that. Feel free to add as many columns as you want. Uh, we will have the ability for you to do these backgrounds, which I'll dive more into those as well. There's some fun layout controls like spacing, vertical alignment, mobile breakpoints. So if you get down to like a certain size, it will collapse those all down into more of like a stacked column as opposed to a single row. So lots of fun configurations that you can do there. So this is an example with no images. Here's an example with some images. So again, your content, drop in an image, decide your widths, position it. Is it above or below? Is it aligned center, aligned left, aligned right? So really gives you a lot of options here. And then if we dive over into this like card style, you can turn on card backgrounds and mess with the background color and decide, do you have border radius? Do you not? What's the padding look like around your content? Do you want to turn on a little drop shadow and kind of like have it feel like it pulls out of your course slightly? You can add borders and mess with border colors. And it's like all sorts of fun things that you can do to make your columns kind of look and feel a certain way. So that is our columns block that we've been working up. Oh yeah, here's another fun one. So throw a little GIF in there. Pro con. Uh, so column of text, column of image only, and then another column of text. So that one's a super fun one. Um, Amelia, reading your question, consider a dynamic builder of content blocks. Uh, Trying to get at your trying to understand what kind of intention you've got under this one. Yeah, so like I think this this getting more to like uh combining multiple blocks into a single row potentially? Kind of feels like maybe that's where you're heading with that idea. And if that's the case, we have talked about slash played around with the concept of that. It certainly gets complicated. Uh, in the meantime, I would suggest kind of building those interactive experiences into a single block of the things you're trying to combine. But uh, yeah, we'll see. I guess follow up and let us know what you were thinking on that one.
Mhm.
Um, Tyson, yes, these are not available yet. We are trying to wrap up a lot of other things that encompass the functionality under the hood with this feature. I would imagine sometime over the next several weeks is when you're going to start to see a lot of these blocks get released. Don't hold me to that, but I'm hopeful, based on a lot of progress we've been making over the last couple of weeks on this initiative, that these will be all up and running and ready for you to go. With a whole series of other fun things, other tools that you'll have access to. So all right, so that was the columns block. The next one is a PDF viewer. Have you ever been asked to just display your PDF in your course and not just have it be an attachment? Man, wouldn't that be cool? Well, you can. All you do is you just drop in your PDF. There is a slew of settings with this one as well, including you can decide like how tall is this, like how much space do I reserve for this block to show up in my course? Is it going to be smaller? And then you can kind of go into like full screen mode. Do you want to deal with like rounded corners? And do you want to turn on or off thumbnails of a PDF? Uh, should this toolbar even be up here? And we've got search functionality, so be able to like search across the PDF for like certain words. You can certainly do that as well. So just really kind of brings more of like the PDF um, browsing experience just directly in line to your course, and not saying like go download this PDF and then hopefully you look at it or whatever. The other fun thing that you can do with this is you can have completions based on pages viewed. So like put a continue button below it and they got to click through every page or scroll through every page in order for this thing to be marked as completed. You can't just move on and not click the button. So you can also mess with like accent colors and styles around what the PDF looks like. You can turn on annotations. Yeah, this one's wild. And I think Nate was telling me that like you can even persist some of those changes in SCORM or like track some of those. I haven't played with that part, but it is wild. But yeah, you can turn on like annotations and like draw on the document. Yeah, so you just noted with XAPI, I can certainly capture a lot of those. You can draw circles and whatnot. So lots of fun things that you could start to introduce with your learners and giving them access to more like PDFs right in line, kind of be able to capture notes or whatever, and then even be able to take that as a takeaway. So lots of cool things. Thank you. I'm an artist, if you couldn't tell. So annotations is fun. Just kind of giving you a good look and feel of like different ways we've integrated PDFs. So this is the one using a little bit more of the branding style that you can get into. So that will be super fun. All you'll do is, yeah, like I mentioned, just drop your PDF in. Um, Once you drop your PDF into here, it'll load that up, build all your page thumbnails. Again, you can kind of determine the height of it. So like, let's say you wanted it to be a little bit smaller inside of your course, you could do that. You could tighten up the width of this to be more like a medium or small width. So lots of great ways that you can play around with PDFs in your course. PDF from a URL is a great idea. I believe that would be possible. Instead of you just dropping in the PDF here, yeah, remote link out to just a public PDF that you've got. You will need to make sure that it is publicly available, unless if you're like all of your learners are behind the location. But as long as they have access to load that, I don't see why that wouldn't be possible. Nate, you can help facilitate that one. Great idea. He's already on it. Um, Kelly, great question. From a mobile perspective, it will, uh, I think, be responsive in some aspect. Let's just go look. I don't know. Let me go down to mobile view. Let's go down to a PDF. There we go. Uh, so we've got our PDF here. Looks like there's certainly some things that we could do to help kind of clean up um, the toolbar here. But for the most part, yeah, would work on mobile.
Nate said he's on that too. Perfect.
Nice. Yep. So yeah, should work on mobile. I think this version that I've got uh doesn't support scrolling through pages, but I know Nate already fixed that. I was just busy and didn't get to that. But to be able to just like scroll through all the pages as opposed to click through the pages. So you should be able to do that as well. I think another feature that would be great is just like click a button to go full screen mode. So yeah, if you are on mobile and it ends up super tiny, just click a button and then it becomes full screen for you or your learner to be able to then just like go through and look at the PDF. So that one's super fun. I'm gonna move on because there's so many other cool things. This one's a flashcard block. This one's awesome. Allows you to build flashcards with images. So you can actually just drop in an image instead of it just being text only. You can even decide like, is your image just more of like a fit and fits on the card, but you still use text? So is it like image and text, or is it just an image, or is it just text? You could do it all. We don't stop you. Um, you also got audio you can add to it. So you can add those. Like here's an example of images and text. Uh, so super fun. I saw a variation of this where the cards didn't flip sideways, they flipped vertically, which was cute. I love that. I think that would be a fun feature to add. So when you click it, it just like flips up and down. Video, that was a good idea. I think we did talk about that. Would be easy to add.
A comment on audio too.
Yes, you can add you can add audio to either side. Yep. I don't have an audio file local to have an example, but I think it's like in the bottom left corner, it would just show the audio bar. It doesn't use because again, these aren't like rise blocks, so it doesn't have like the player you're used to. But I think that's almost better because it's actually just like literally a little play icon that then I think expands out into a player. I don't think any of these had examples of that. Um, but yeah, then this one's another fun one where it's like, well, this is a flashcard too. It just isn't rectangular. So you could actually even change the shape of those too. So you can make them square, rectangle, circle, whatever your heart content is. So, and full control of just like the the flashcard background color, like the main color that it has, you can determine that as like a base color for all and then override per side colors as well. So like this one is maybe super hard to notice in Zoom, but goes from like a darker green to a lighter green. Um, I don't know if you guys can see that, but
Yeah, little ombre timeline.
yeah, super fun. All right. Then last, before I need to probably bail and talk about a demo and whatnot, but is another fun block that we've been building. It's a branching scenario. It's like an image or video branching scenario. So I'm gonna play this. The idea here is like uh show a video. Like you guys probably have videos either through all your tools or what have you. Like you create videos or you have an image of something, display it for so long, and then present a question back to the learner. And based on what they choose, go to the next path in your scenario that you're going to be building. So it's not weird characters who are just like static and aren't the characters you want to be. They're whatever, like this can be anything. And then you just ask a question, and then based on your answer, it will play the next thing. So it's fairly straightforward. You literally build whatever you want. Um, Getting into this, the settings for this, as you can imagine, is a little bit more difficult. But just kind of walk through, you'll create your start scene identifier. And then when you get in here, you start to create all of your scenes and then you connect them. So like, here's my ID to start this up. Drop in your either video or image. If it's an image, determine how long that plays. You can also add audio as well. If it is an image, you can have audio voiceover. Sure, certainly. It can autoplay. At the end of like if this is an ending scene, it can like display a message at the end saying like congratulations, you went down the right path, or no, that is not the way to treat customers, or whatever you're teaching. And then once you get done with that scene, then it's like, okay, what do you want to ask? Ask a question. What are your answers? And then based on your answers, like where do we go next? So then you use these scene IDs to kind of navigate around this thing. It's a little bit like a uh, interesting way to like determine your navigation path. But as soon as you guys start to play with it, it's like a breeze. It makes a lot of sense. Super easy to do. You build up each one of these scenes, decide where they go next, and then that's really it. So again, any image or video, you can add audio. You ask a question at the end based on the answer, however many answers you want to provide, takes you on to the next path that you go to. So that one was a lot of fun to build. Uh, and then more fun blocks like a lot of you guys integrate with Vimeo or YouTube, but then you have to like create your own wrapper for that because the embed doesn't work, which that outage was a mess if anyone experienced that. So you can just use your direct video Vimeo embed for this block. And there's also fun controls where it's like gate your video so that if they don't complete it, they can't move on. So there's a lot of settings in here where like completion is determined based on the end or a percentage watched, or they just have to start it. Do you want to lock the scrub bar? Do you want to have a message display because it's locked? Do you want it to autoplay? Do you want it to loop? Do you want a completion badge? Basically at the end saying you're done, you did what you needed. What's the aspect rate? Like all sorts of wild settings that you can really get into. Just plug in your Vimeo URL, you're good to go. Give it a description if you need to. Um, and then literally same idea for YouTube. So you don't need to, yeah, everyone loves the bunny. Uh,
So
so,
creepy.
so yeah, YouTube, Vimeo, there's lots of wild fun things that's coming. So
It's worth noting, as you guys are saying, showing the love for these new blocks and the things that are coming out. If you guys are loving the new features, go share them on social. Help us keep creating things like this and keep spreading all of the wonderful Mighty features to other creators.
yes. Um, well, at this point, I'm gonna wrap up the blocks. I probably could keep going, but I shouldn't. What I should do is just I want to open this up to Q&A. I know we've answered along the way a lot of them. Jackie, to answer your question here, when are these coming? Uh, very soon. Is that a terrible answer? Um, we are working on trying to uh, make it so like you can easily just like drop those and update them and whatnot. We're trying to like wrap up the facilitation of these blocks. Sorry, long-winded answer to say probably in the next week or two, maybe up to 4 weeks. But I think before the end of April, this should be out there. And minimally out there earlier with the early access crew. So for all of you who are here and want access to things early, join that group. And that's how you get access. So
It's
yeah,
worth noting too, Pinkster, we have Alyssa, Virginia, and Karen that are all brand new to Mighty.
nice.
So maybe we can squeeze in a bit of a demo. And for the three of you, and if there's more that are brand new, if there's anything specific that you want to see in the demo, let us know.
Yes.
I know we dove right in today, so if you were here the whole time, you saw a lot of things. But
I am not going to answer that question again because otherwise you'll get it tomorrow or something. But I will wrap up with all of you who are not interested in hanging for the demo. One, thanks for coming. Love you all. The next time we meet is May 26th. So we're skipping April because Nate and I and another one of our colleagues, Dan, are going to be out at Learning Technologies out in London. So super excited to see hopefully some of you out there. And
yep,
uh,
we'll be booth L30 if you're heading out there.
yeah, so we'll have a great time out there. We'll pause our Mighty Meetup for 1 month and then be back at it in May, where I can show you all the crazy things that should be released by then. All these blocks, plus all sorts of other wild things that we're building right now. So, all right, I'm gonna peel over to a demo. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you then.
Yes, Melissa, we will also be at DevLearn this year.
Yep, we'll be at DevLearn, Learning Technologies, as well as Articuland, and
Yep.
we're just walking around, hanging out. All right, so overview of Mighty from a functionality perspective. Thanks for hanging on for the ride here. As you probably know, it is a Chrome extension, is the magic sauce that we're doing all this with, which is super cool. Very integrated into the Rise product. Anything from publishing to review, publishing out for your LMS, like it's all there, it's all bundled in. The only one who needs to know your secret weapon is you. As you install the extension, there's a free 30-day trial. Jump in, start trying it out. Let us know what you think. And then from a low cost of 337 US dollars a year, you get all these features plus so much more that's coming this year. So um, super inexpensive. And as you've seen, it's very integrated into your course. We've got anything from new blocks that we've introduced. Obviously, I walked through a handful of some new blocks that are coming, but these are blocks that we've introduced, anything from asking open-ended reflection questions to adding multiple choice where you can report your knowledge checks to SCORM. You can do kind of like a fun image comparison, like a before and after type thing. Reverse hotspots and transition blocks, which transition block is the one that everyone loves, where you can see right here, we've got a fun background image. I just go and I just hit the transition button, and boom, now there's this really fun transition that allows sections to bleed and in and out of other sections. And you can change up the style of that. You've got a bunch of presets, and then you can go wild to your heart's content on what those look like. So that's super fun to be able to see that. And you'll see that kind of throughout here where you've got like transitions even in the background to be able to like split a block above and below from a color perspective, and uh, fun little waves like this as you bleed in and out of sections. So transitions are fun. This is the reverse hotspot where you can like get in and find certain things that make a fun collaborative environment. So that one's a cool one. Open-ended reflections. So lots of fun things there. We also have mods that we've done to existing Rise blocks. So I'll pop open this menu. Anytime you see this mighty magenta color, that's us. We added some love into all the things in Rise. And so in this one, like as an example, with the quote carousel block, we added support for autoplay audio. I think that's the mod that's in there. Or for the image centered and image full width and image and text block. There's like all sorts of fun controls that you can do outside of the standard Rise functionality. So you'll find all those here on the right-hand side. Gives you a lot more dynamic control over various things for the image and text, things like your width, your ratios, your alignments. You can even do mobile support and stack blocks certain ways. So lots of fun things that we've even enhanced existing Rise blocks. And not to mention power-ups, which is this whole other fun section which you could add any sort of wild custom code that you want to really enhance your course even further. I've seen it to the point where people have added like a floating chat bot in the bottom right corner that you can connect to your LLM and have your learner ask questions about your content along the way, or glossary terms that show up, or confetti that flies when learners does certain actions or what have you. And then you can also do the find and replace I mentioned. We also have global styles. So if you ever want to fix all of the wildness that is Rise block typography, so like as an example, like as you scroll around all the different blocks, just like the variation of font sizes, line heights, letter spacing, like it's just all over the place. And so this global styles one, uh, complete game changer in regards to efficiency. You can just literally turn on Mighty Styles. We're going to go and add all of these types as well as assign them out to blocks and like really make all of your blocks more consistent for typography. So now as we scroll around, you'll see typography is like in a really good spot. Things are consistent. So lots of cool things that you can do with Mighty. Uh,
Hey, Pinkster, just Virginia was asking more about like just how Mighty is like nested into Rise.
yeah,
I think if you just pull out that like the sidebar, you can see again, just like this is kind of it
like this
becomes
guy.
part of your Rise experience.
Yeah. Yeah. So like obviously all of these buttons you see in here, you don't typically get with Rise. Once you install the Chrome extension, what Mighty's able to do is we're able to add in all of these features right onto rise.articulate.com's website. And then what we've done is we've worked really hard with closely integrating a lot of their functionality and our functionality. So that way, all of the features are just like fully embedded, fully native supported for Rise functionality. So that way, when you go to publish your course and publish it to review or what have you, it all just works great. So,
Let us know if there's any follow-up to that, Virginia. Happy to answer. Yeah. Hey, we had another question from Veronica. I don't know if this is skipping around too much, but just wondering about if it reports multiple quizzes.
uh,
Uh,
no, so Rise right now does not. We've avoided um, kind of like integrating too far into the quiz functionality because Rise has a lot of built-in logic in regards to course completion, success status, etc., that we don't want to interfere with slash break. I will say though that our multiple choice block is your best way right now to report out other learner answers outside of a quiz. So if you want to be able to just like capture those types of questions along the way, that would be the path that I would go, is to build that up. I will also say that people have built, like we've even built internally, like a quiz block. And so using the Mighty interactive HTML block, we, with our fun AI buddy, built out a quiz and it was literally just like multiple choice questions. There was matching question types, etc. And it would just like ask a bunch of questions along the way, almost like the whole quiz lesson you experience. And it would report all of those to the LMS just fine, no issues. But we still leave Rise quiz functionality to deal with success statuses when it comes to LMS. So certainly ways to deal with that and getting more of the data analytics reporting and whatnot.
Pinkster, for some of the new to Mighty people, and it looks like there's a question from Kamal. In the event the extension is discontinued, what would our courses look like? Would it automatically jump to the default designs? Maybe just talk about like, the whole if someone doesn't have Mighty or if a block is taken out, things like
Yeah,
that, situations like that.
yeah. Um, so if the sad day came where you decided to not use Mighty anymore, then yes, you would turn off the extension, you would see placeholders in your course for where Mighty's added blocks or what have you, and you would just delete those out and recreate those with new functionality that you want to use, either with storyline components or some other path. So those would be a part of your authoring offboarding experience. For any course you've published, all of that will work forever, regardless of your subscription status. So once you publish your course, you're good to go. Mighty is never going to like turn off access to any of that. Just all during the authoring experience. Things would go into like a read-only mode, and then you decide like, do you want to move forward or not move forward? So
Awesome.
I
Uh,
do see some questions in regards to like the flashcard block and being able to demo more of that. Easiest way to do branching scenarios. The interactive HTML block, yep, it's fully responsive for mobile users. It is just in your control to make it responsive. I'm assuming you are not a developer, but you have full web technologies and AI is very good about out of the gate just being responsive and accessible. So like they they usually most models will just do that for you out of the gate. So you should be good to go there. The easiest way to build a branching scenario is yeah, just open up your Claude.ai and just start to brainstorm with it. Say like, hey, I'm building this interactive. Here's what I'm wanting the branching scenario to be. And you'll be amazed at how fast you can build out your own custom branching scenario experience, as opposed to trying to fiddle with the existing branching scenario block from Rise or building it in storyline, which would take forever. I wouldn't recommend that. I would certainly just start with collaborating with AI to build an interactive based scenario block. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of I don't know what you want to see, Karen, with the flashcard block, but it is cool. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things that you can do from a font size, like you can mess with font size and kind of adjust all that, build out your content, add images, add audio. I don't really have a good test audio, so I could try to add something there, um, but yeah, like I said, this will be coming out soon.
I just had a question. When you flip over the cards,
Mhm.
okay, like mine keep touching. So like on the default ones, and I tried to use Claude to ask it to not make it touch, and I couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, probably just something with the code. If you want to, you can just drop me a note in the MC, maybe in a direct message there, or you can even shoot me an email. I know we've chatted before.
yeah.
If you want to send me the code snippet that you built, I'm happy to take a look at that and fix it up for you. So
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I
cool.
was just wondering. I'm like, these are I like the sizes of them too. It's like a nice
Yeah.
size.
Yep. Love
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks
Uh,
for sitting and chatting, Karen. Love it.
um,
Pinkster, did you see Josh's question? And I know we're over time, so I know we're trying to wrap up. I did put a link directly to community. Once again, I think I've put a few times throughout, but if you have additional questions, you can always reach us there in DMs or in a post. And I also put a link to an email that you can shoot us an email to. So we're happy to help.
Yeah. Yeah, I am curious, Josh. We could chat about that if you're interested. I don't know exactly what you mean by an idle timeout solution. I'm assuming you're in your LMS where your learner has the course open and then they go out to lunch and forget to come back and you want to basically more or less like close the course and pause their progress. Is that,
I think you just came off mute.
you know, we can't hear you if you're chatting,
Yeah, shoot.
but I think
Yeah,
that may be what, oh, there you are.
yeah. So we deal a lot with like state insurance CE, which has like idle timer requirements. And so this is what we were investigating. It's actually our only holdup from even using Rise is
Mm.
are those state rules.
Yeah. Can you just explain a little bit further? What are those rules?
It's exactly what you're talking about, John.
Okay.
Like after 10 minutes, if the user hasn't done anything, so they walked away for lunch,
Yep.
right? The state says, hey, you just can't leave it open and continue to accrue time, right? We
Yeah.
have to say, no, you're done. You need to come back and review this content again more later.
Yep. Because as a lot of your content also time specific, like you've got to be in there for so many minutes.
There's a few states like that, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can certainly think of ways to achieve that in Rise using custom code snippets. So the way that these work is you would basically write some JavaScript, which again, I'm assuming you're not a developer, so I'll talk through a little bit more on that in a second. But you would have you or AI write JavaScript that more or less keeps track of that type of activity. Um, that's where it gets a little bit tricky in the sense of like you would need to observe any sort of user driven event, like click events within the browser or navigation to other lessons. And then those would like reset a timer. And then at some point, what you could do is if you haven't noticed any of these activities, display a little dialogue, like a little modal that says like, "Are you still here?" And after like 5 minutes of them not being here, you display that, and then after a minute of them not interacting with that, then you just like exit the tab. You just close out the browser tab on them. There are certainly ways that you could achieve that. Now, the way that I would go back to this and like have you develop this is again, I would pull up like a ChatGPT or a Claude AI and just start collaborating and say, here's my challenge that I have. I have an LMS that doesn't support this, so I need to build it in my course. I can provide JavaScript to do this. You can even say that it is a Rise course because LLMs now know more about Rise um, as a product. And you can even say you're using Mighty because it knows also about Mighty and to really just describe your problem that you're trying to solve. I believe you can capitalize on just normal browser click events or navigation events, like holistic things like that, that aren't super specific, but are more just like general. That as soon as those actions occur, it's like, cool, we'll reset the timer. And we'll start up a timer again until the next action occurs. And then eventually, once enough time comes along, that's where I think from a user experience, present a dialogue, and then if they still don't interact, that's like, cool, we now assume you're not here. So we're just gonna bail. Similar to like what you'd get if you were on like a banking website or what have you. Where,
Mhm.
are you sure are you still here? If so, continue session type option. So that's really
Exactly.
the path that I would start to investigate.
Yeah, thanks, John. I mean, I noticed you guys have a custom code, and Rise has their own custom code block. Is there
Yes.
any major differences between those two?
Uh on the like forefront right now, there isn't a lot of differences between like functionally what you can do. Uh, but under the hood and what we are about to release, yes, there is a significant amount of differences. We're going to introduce a whole host of features that allow you to really like customize your content without customizing the experience, um, which you can kind of see an advantage of that here with our interactive HTML. Like this is technically an interactive HTML block with user-driven content, which Rise does not offer that functionality. And so I would definitely encourage you to start with our code block, the interactive HTML block, versus a Rise code block, because their code block is ages behind us. We built our code block 2 years ago. It was one of the first things we released, and we've just been evolving it. A lot of it's been evolved internally, and we've like slowly started to reveal some of these things. But in the next month or two, I mean, it's going to be huge light years ahead of where that current block is at now. So yeah, I would definitely lean there. I will also say that there is this idea of like code blocks, which are blocks are think about as like it's a lesson, it's a location in a lesson that has content. So that's where you'd use the word like code block versus the custom code, which is more of like an overarching feature that is like not related to a lesson or a location in a lesson at all. Like doesn't have to be. It could be just like custom code in your course, like what we were talking about, where you're like tracking the user along the way and doing things. So just note that like Mighty does have like two ways in which we have code within our courses. One is at the highest level with custom code, and then we also have the interactive HTML block. So two options there. Great questions, Josh. Anyone else have anything before? I know we're way over time, but cool. Well, thanks everyone. Again, appreciate you joining. We will be back May 26th at 12:30 Eastern time again, and excited to see y'all over in learning technologies.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks.